Thanks for joining us this morning, and thanks for your calls yesterday, particularly on the theft of those really expensive handbags. We have passed all that information over to the police.
Yeah, thanks so much for that. We'll be hearing more incredible stories from the front line of policing, including how a man pretending to be a paramedic in order to sexually abuse women was finally put behind bars.
He came across as very smug, and I got the feeling that he felt that nobody would believe the victims and what they'd said, and I honestly think he believed he'd get away with it.
Well, he didn't. And South Wales Police are also with us asking for information about missing Charlene Hobbs, a 36-year-old mum whose disappearance they are treating as murder.
And we'll be talking about the power of a good bedtime story. We're meeting the charity keeping kids connected to their parents who are behind bars.
Being able to do just something very simple as a story for your kids. So it's about turning that negative into a positive.
So, let's get on to the first one, shall we?
As always, our team and officers from today's programme are backstage, ready to take your calls. All the ways you can get in touch can be found by following the QR code. You just scan the code with your phone's camera and it will direct you to our homepage. Otherwise, the number to call is 08000 468 999, or you can text us on 63399. Start with the word crime, leave a space, then write your message. And if you'd prefer, you can email us. The address is cwl@bbc.co.uk.
Now, our first appeal today is from Lincolnshire, where two shop workers have been left terrified in the small market town of Long Sutton.
Police emergency.
We just had a robbery.
This was a terrifying moment for both shop workers.
He took money out the till, he threatened him with a knife.
And it could have turned out very differently. I got to the store. One of my colleagues from Response was obtaining statements from the staff that were there. My initial thoughts were to see what CCTV is available.
Police started to build a timeline of events.
The store opens at 5:30 in the morning. The staff were waiting at the back of the store for the papers to be delivered. But whilst they're out the back, the males walked into the store. He walks around. It's clear from the CCTV he's wearing like a black hooded top. He's got the hood up with a face mask on.
After checking the coast is clear, the male attempts to open the till before being interrupted by a staff member who walks over to serve him.
Asks the member of staff for a packet of cigarettes. And then, within seconds, brandishes the 6-inch kitchen knife. Says to the member of staff, open the till and you won't get hurt. He takes it upon himself to open the till and start removing the cash. One of the other members of staff working that day, he's seen what's going on via the CCTV cameras in the back of the store. He's come out, tackled the male. It's very brave to go out and tackle this person with a knife, not knowing what their intention was, and clearly could have been hurt himself.
Luckily, no one is hurt, and the robber begins to back off, but continues to lash out. Finally, he decides to go.
This was a terrifying moment for both shop workers, and it could have turned out very differently.
I was in complete shock. I didn't know what to do. I'm really grateful my colleague was there. This was an awful thing to go through.
The male took approximately £80 in cash and a packet of cigarettes, but in the scuffle, he dropped approximately about £15. I've then gone and done a CCTV trawl. There was a private address that had some CCTV of him coming up their driveway and then making his way back down their driveway, which led to the park that was behind the properties.
police were unable to track him any further, but there are some clues in the CCTV.
The suspect was wearing a black hooded top with a face mask and sort of like grey blue trousers. They were darker at the bottom than they were at the top. He had a 6-inch kitchen knife in his left hand, which didn't have a glove on, and in his right hand wearing a black glove that he used to open the till and get the money from the till. We're very keen to catch this individual, clearly very dangerous, and would like to catch him before he goes on and does this again. He may have committed these offences anywhere in the country. Somebody will know who he is. It's outrageous behaviour that somebody has gone into this store with a knife, threatening the staff. Nobody should have to go to work and face that.
To know this armed thief is still out there in the area is worrying. We're back at work, but we're afraid he may come back, so we hope he is caught soon.
We're doing everything we can to try and find this individual. We need to keep this safe, so if anybody has got any information they can give us, then it would be greatly appreciated.
Well, DC Matt Wharton from Lincolnshire Police is here with me now. Thank you for coming in. First of all, can we just talk about how brave the shop worker was? Because as you rightly said, you don't expect to go into work and have that happen, do you?
No, not at all. Yeah, he was extremely brave in the circumstances, and you see from the footage that he's at the back of the store, sees what's going on the CCTV, then runs out and tackles the male who's got this knife.
Yeah, unfortunately, the shop workers were OK, but clearly terrified from the incident.
Oh, yeah, frightening incident, but, yeah, luckily nobody was hurt.
Yeah, so someone threatening somebody with a knife, I mean, clearly needs to be caught. So should we go through the details of this? Take us back to the beginning of what happened.
Yeah, so the shop opened at 5:30 on the morning. They'd only been open about 10 minutes when this male walks in. He walks around the store before going to the counter and asking for a packet of cigarettes. As you can see, he tries to open the till himself, asks for the cigarettes, and then on being passed a packet of cigarettes, then brandishes a knife and then opens the till himself.
Yeah, and you've obviously got the CCTV and then this shot as well. I mean, how would you describe the suspect? Because it's well covered, which in itself was suspicious because it wasn't a bad weather day. But how would you describe the suspect?
Yeah, he was quite wrapped up well for considering it wasn't that cold. But from the details we've got, he's a white male, aged in his 40s, he's got like a black hooded top underneath his jacket, again with the hood up, this face mask, and then these sort of distinctive two-tone grey trousers where they're sort of darker at the bottom than they are at the top.
Like a tie-dye, you don't see many of them about, do you? Yeah, and we can see him as well walking outside because he's got a bit of a distinct walk.
Yeah, it's as if he's got sort of a limp as he's walking along, and it's whether anybody sort of recognises his walk from the CCTV. Yeah,
so a few bits to go on there. And should we talk about where this shop is as well? Because that might jog people's memories, mightn't it?
So, yeah, the shop's down in Long Sutton, which is in South Lincolnshire, near to the border with Norfolk. And you can see on here we've got the newsagents, and then the footage that shows the driveway he goes up is just here, and then obviously runs, and we lose him in the park area at the back of the store. So
it sounds like the suspect clearly knows the area, given he's able to get himself to the park and knows where to go.
I certainly think he's done his homework on his escape route from the store.
Yeah, yeah. So who do you want to hear from? What do you want to hear?
Anybody who recognises the male, certainly his distinctive trousers, then would be very grateful to anybody who can put some names forward for us.
Yeah, we want to find
forward.
Yeah, we want to find this man, don't we, Matt? Thank you so much. Well, if you recognise him, get in touch. All the ways to do that are on the screen below.
See what that brave shop worker from the newsagents might want to hear from some guests we're talking to later, who are now volunteering with their local police force. Now, though, I'm joined by DI Graham Williams from South Wales Police's Major Crime Unit. Graham, welcome to the programme. You've got a really important, urgent appeal you want to bring us right now. Tell us more.
Yeah, that's right. So it's in relation to Charlene Hobbs, a 36-year-old vulnerable female from Cardiff, very well known in the Riverside, Adamsdown and Splot areas. So Charlene went missing on the 24th of July, 2024. She was then missing for a period of months before the investigation was adopted by my team in October 2024. And despite our best efforts, we haven't been able to establish any proof of life for her. since that point. So of March this year, it was designated as a no-body murder investigation. However, we are very much keeping an open mind regarding what may have happened to Charlene.
What can you tell us about the last known sighting of her?
So the last known sighting of Charlene was on the 24th of July 2024. That was at 6:07 in the morning, and that was on the Broadway in Cardiff. Through our inquiries, we identified a photograph of Charlene taken in a flat on the Broadway, and that's been the last proof of life that we've been able to establish for her.
And obviously this has caused a massive amount of worry and pain for her family. They're understandably worried sick, and they have told us, Charlene, if you are able to, please contact someone to let us know that you are okay. We all miss you and love you. Love, Mum and Dad. Very, very powerful words there. Graham, there is some CCTV that you want to show us here today. Can you just talk us through what we're seeing? Because this may jog someone's memory if they're watching at home.
Yeah, so this is from the 23rd of July 2024, so this is the day before Charlene's disappearance, and this is from the Morrison's Daily on Moira Place. She entered the store around 4 in the afternoon. So again, we don't think there's anything outstanding within that CCTV footage, but we feel it could jog people's memories just in terms of her movements and Charlene's appearance.
Yeah, let's hope so. Now, this has been a huge investigation, huge inquiry for you and your team so far. Just give us an idea of the scale of what's happened so far.
Yeah, very large and complex investigation for us. Over 400 people spoken to, over 600 premises visited, over 1,000 hours of CCTV gathered and viewed. Searches across South Wales with multiple resources, including search officers, drones, divers, sonar. And part of our search inquiries, we have a particular interest within the Caerphilly and Macon areas due to some information within the investigation. So any information relating to those areas, the end of July, beginning of August last year, would be really helpful to us.
Yeah, we need that information. Now, as part of this large-scale investigation, a vehicle has come to your attention that you'd like to know a bit more about. We can see an image on the screen here. Just talk us through this.
Yes, this is a red Nissan Micra, really significant in the investigation for us. We know it was being used at the time of Charlene's disappearance. So any information regarding that, particularly in the Caerphilly Macon areas, would be helpful. We know that it was red initially. A couple of months later, it was painted black, and that it was then found burnt out on the 29th of October in St Helens Close in Abergavenny. OK, now, arrests have been made as part of this investigation. Are you able to say any more about that at this stage? Yeah, so initially 2 persons, a male and female, were arrested. They've both been released, no further action. We do currently have a 46-year-old male on bail, with inquiries ongoing. That being said, we are very much keeping an open mind. So again, any information could be useful to us.
Could be useful and could be absolutely crucial. So today, who do you want to hear from?
We want to hear from any friends or associates of Charlene that may have any information regarding her disappearance, information from residents of Riverside Adamstown Splot who may know something or may have seen some suspicious activity at that time. Particularly the residents of Caerphilly and Macon, if they saw anything suspicious around the end of July, beginning of August, particularly around that red Micra, and just that appeal on behalf of Charlene's family, really. She is a much-loved daughter, sister and mother, so just that appeal for them.
So sad.
There is a Crime Stoppers reward available as well of £20,000. Which is available until at least the 24th of October. So if people don't feel comfortable reporting to us, they can report anonymously to Crime Stoppers. Yeah, that's really important. And there is actually a portal, isn't there, where people can get information direct to you, and that could be absolutely crucial as part of this investigation. Graham, thank you for joining us today. So, if you do know anything about Charlene, please do get in touch. You've heard how much this clearly means to her family. The police need answers, and so do they. And we have got a QR code. It's on your screen now. If you scan that with your phone, we've got details of how you can get that information direct to Graham and his team. Anything that you think could be relevant to the investigation, you can get to them. Do try that now. Thank you.
Now, our next film looks at how a sinister rapist who used a range of disguises to win the trust of women he went on to assault was put behind bars. Now, this film contains some upsetting descriptions.
Online, he was giving off good, trusting vibes. He would chat to the victims for a few days to a few months. But we now know from all the evidence that as soon as he met the victim, he had other ideas.
In September 2023, Norfolk police received an alarming call.
We received a report from a female stating that a male who was portraying himself to be a paramedic via a dating website app had sexually assaulted her. She believed that he was a caring individual. She felt that she could trust him, and she built a relationship online with him. Once she'd met him, his demeanour and his mannerisms had changed compared to how kind of caring he appeared online. He became quite forceful, and he sexually assaulted her.
The caller said the attacker was a man called Jamie Kadolski.
We've got somebody who is a risk to the general public and a risk to females. So we took this complaint very seriously.
As police began their inquiries into Jamie Kadolski, they found a strikingly similar allegation had been made 9 months earlier.
In January 2023, we received a report from a female online reporting that she'd been sexually assaulted by a male who she believed to be working as a paramedic. When he met the victim, he was in a green medical style uniform, and he justified that by saying he'd just finished a night shift. His demeanour was quite different from what he'd portrayed whilst he was messaging her online. He'd become quite forceful and quite demanding in his nature, and when they returned to his home address, that's when the assault happened. She was able to tell us his first name, Jamie.
This earlier victim was so traumatised by her alleged assault that she didn't want the police to pursue the matter. But the new allegation meant the police could now arrest Kadolski and bring him in for questioning.
He admitted to meeting up with both of the females. He never denied having any sexual contact with them, but compared to the allegations that have been made, things weren't matching up.
He was released under strict bail conditions while detectives continued their investigation. Then, some weeks later, another alleged victim came forward, this time an ex-partner of Kadolski's.
In January 2024, we then received a third report from a female who was stating that she'd met a male online and had begun like a relationship with him. And throughout that relationship, she reports being raped multiple times, also having a series of sexual assaults committed against her, as well as a non-fatal strangulation and false imprisonment.
She claimed she had been abused in 2022. Then, whilst he was on bail, a fourth woman came forward claiming she had been attacked by Kadolski in January 2024.
The female had said she'd met a male online who was portraying himself to be a paramedic, and the victim had stated that this male had raped her.
Police arrested Jamie Kadolski again, and in April 2024, he was charged with offences against all four women and remanded in custody to await trial.
I'm going to have to place you under arrest on suspicion of
trafficking, drugs and Nigeria.
Suspicion of sexual assault, suspicion of rape and suspicion of sexual assault.
Jamie appeared quite put out, to be honest, and acted like it was quite an inconvenience for him. He didn't seem particularly worried at that point.
You're not taking my phone. I've literally gotten that within the last few days, so I want that back as soon as possible.
He was concentrating on his device being seized by police and seemed quite concerned about that.
There'll be nothing you can get on that.
Okay.
But that was an essential piece of evidence, potentially, for the investigation and what content that might have on it.
When questioned about the fresh allegations made against him, Kadolski claimed the encounters were consensual. But his digital records showed something else.
From his phone, we could see that he'd been communicating with the females, that he'd been using the same messaging pattern to talk to them. We also had some forensic evidence in connection to one of the victims, which subsequently proved that Jamie wasn't being honest in his account. Things had gone further than he had stated.
And he wasn't being honest about being a paramedic either.
Checks revealed that he had previously been at the East of England Ambulance Service, but this was as a call handler. He had never been a paramedic.
He had gone to extraordinary lengths to present himself as a key worker.
We seized various items of uniform, epaulets that you would wear on your shirts of these green uniforms, specifically epaulets that he wasn't entitled to wear.
They found he had manipulated a green uniform he was given as a first aider to make it look like a paramedic's uniform.
We also found medical ID cards that were either from previous employment or they were cards that he'd in fact tampered with and was using to portray himself in a more senior role that he wasn't entitled to be in. And he was using them as a method to gain trust from his victims and gain access to them to abuse them.
In November 2024, Godolsky stood trial, charged with 15 counts of sexual offences relating to all 4 alleged victims.
He came across as very smug, and I got the feeling that he felt that nobody would believe the victims and what they'd said, and I honestly think he believed he'd get away with it.
In November 2024, Godolsky was convicted of 3 counts of rape and 6 counts of sexual assault, but cleared of the attacks alleged to have taken place when he was on bail. He was sentenced to 12 years in prison. His crimes have had a lasting impact on his victims.
Seeing ambulances and paramedics fills me with dread because although I have since learned Jamie is not a paramedic, I still have such a negative connotation around them.
I feel shame just thinking about it. I no longer have friends, and my relationship with my family will never be the same. I can't hug them or bear to be touched, and they don't know why.
I blame myself for what happened to me, and I still do today. I stopped doing anything that made me feel good because I believed I didn't deserve it.
I think it was really, really brave of them, and to have the courage to stand up and tell him exactly how he's affected their lives and how he's made them feel. But because he was travelling throughout the UK at different times, it's not beyond the realms of possibility that he may have committed offences against other females. And if that is the case, I would urge them to come forward so we can get justice done for them.
Gosh, what a relief he was caught.
Yeah, very much so. Good result there. Now, AI was something barely anyone knew much about just a few years ago, but now its benefits and applications are literally everywhere. But there is growing concern around how it can be used to exploit and groom young children.
Yeah, it's really terrifying. I know us as parents are really worried about this. Well, to talk about it, we are joined by Ian Drennan, who's Executive Director of We Protect Global Alliance. It's an organisation focused on combating the threat of child sexual abuse and exploitation online. Ian, a big job you have. Tell us a bit more about your organisation.
So we were launched in 2020 as an independent organisation, and recognising that child sexual abuse and exploitation online is a global problem, it needs a global solution. So we brought together over 330 governments, private sector companies, civil society, intergovernmental organisations to develop solutions to this crime. We produce research, we drive collaboration, and we try and put together policy solutions to end this terrible crime.
Yeah, really, really important job there. So today, you're speaking about generative AI. Can you just explain what that is and why there's so many concerns around it?
So, just as you said, there are so many opportunities that come through from AI, but like any new form of technology, we're seeing perpetrators exploiting it for their own ends. So firstly, you've got AI-generated child sexual abuse material. So that's where you're creating kind of photorealistic images that are entirely synthetic. Then you've got so-called deep fakes, where you're taking perhaps an innocent picture of a child, and then you're using that to create explicit images of them. And then finally, you're seeing perpetrators using AI to supercharge, to enhance pre-existing techniques like grooming, where they're looking to meet children online and get them into risky situations.
Gosh, it's incredible, isn't it, what can be created by it? So what are you guys doing about it, and how much of a problem is this?
I mean, this is a significant and growing threat. So one of our members, the Internet Watch Foundation, they find that compared from 2023 to 2024, there had been a 380% increase in AI-generated child sexual abuse material. What we're seeing is this is now complicating the law enforcement response. So you've got a lot of photorealistic, indistinguishable to the naked eye child sexual abuse material that's coming along. Police are having to work out whether that's a real victim who needs protection. So it's really making the response, which was already difficult, even more challenging.
Even more challenging, as you say. Well, you've launched a new initiative. It's called Protect Us. And we're going to take a look at a clip now.
I didn't understand what was happening. I started to panic. And I realised that Bella wasn't real.
It's a powerful clip there, Ian. We can say that they are real actors that you've used there, but can you just explain what was going on there?
Yeah, so this is a series of films that we put together with the incredible support from Baroness Joanna Shields, and they're available on our website, weprotect.org, on our YouTube channel. And what they do is bring to life these cases of AI-enhanced abuse. So the one you just saw there, it was financially motivated sexual extortion. So the boy believes that he's engaging with a young girl of his own age. Actually, it's someone sitting in something like a call centre, completely financially motivated. And tragically, we've seen these cases have ended up with people taking their own lives, sometimes within mere hours of being contacted.
Yeah, the impact it can have is terrifying. And I know, me personally as a parent, I'm terrified by this. Rav as a dad as well. And there'll be parents, carers, grandparents all worried about this. What can we do to try and keep our kids safe?
No, absolutely. I've got a 9-year-old and an 11-year-old daughter myself. And I think, the first thing we need to recognise is that unlike, me or you growing up, children are kind of immersed in this digital world. They're experiencing the digital world, physical world. It's like there are no boundaries. It's like a seamless whole. So I think what we need to do is to understand what risks and challenges are out there, and then engage with children on their digital lives. So I think these criminals, these offenders, the currency they're trading in is blame and shame. And so if children feel that they can speak to trusted adults, parents, caregivers, about their experiences online, if something that they're not comfortable with, something that's not going well, if they feel they can talk to us, then a lot of that harm is reduced. And there are many, many resources out there. So Internet Watch Foundation, you can report harmful activity. The NSPCC has a brilliant helpline for children. And you can find more resources on our website. But I think help is out there, is what I would want to leave you with.
So important to say, Ian. Thank you. We're going to add your website onto our homepage too, so people can find out more.
Now, from kids navigating difficulties in the online world to a charity that's helping kids stay connected to their families in the real world.
My name's Kizzy and I'm the Deputy CEO of Storybook Dads. Storybook Dads helps prisoners to read bedtime stories for their children, and it's advertised on the prison wings, and the prisoner will apply to take part. Sometimes they'll feel really nervous or embarrassed and not want to read in front of somebody, or they might have a low literacy level. So we will go and see them and encourage them to come and take part, talk to them about their children, so they soon feel comfortable enough to sit and record with us. It shows the children that they're loved and missed during the period of separation. It makes them feel happy at home, might help with bedtimes, feeling less worried, not struggling at school. It also helps dads and mums in prison feel worthwhile as parents. I've met a few children on prison visits that have used our service, and you can see, that they recognise Daddy because they might have seen him on a DVD or they might have heard his voice on an audio. It's incredibly impactful and emotional to be part of that. We, on average, produce 4,000 stories a year across 103 prisons. Initially, the stories were edited by staff, and then we created a team of prisoners that could learn to do the editing, and then that became their job Monday to Friday. And the feedback from those guys is that they felt like they were part of something really positive, and one of those was Neil.
I'm Neil. I was convicted for fraud, and I was in prison from February 2023 to August 2024. I got 2 children. One was 5 at the time, one was 14 months. For my eldest, suddenly, Daddy wasn't there when he came home from school. So the effect that had on him was big. For me as well, used to being with them day in, day out, doing bedtimes every night, reading stories. For that to be gone was a huge impact on all of our lives, really. A big shock to the system, from a quiet being at home to a crazy atmosphere where it's really loud and, you're kind of on edge all the time. And just trying to get a grasp of how you're going to kind of get through this next period of time. When you're away like that, it's the little things that kind of count. I'd been in prison for roughly 3 weeks, and I put in an application to do a story for the kids.
So, let's get on to the first one, shall we? I really, really like this book. It's a really good one.
I was excited when I spoke to them on the phone to tell them, I've done this for you and it's going to be on its way. They're excited because they were getting a DVD through the post, that they'd always be asking for the next one. And I'd ask them what book they wanted, so I'd try and do the story that they wanted.
Redfin, yes, miss. Tiddler. Tiddler's late. No, he's late.
I found it quite emotional when I've done birthday stories and Christmas stories and things like that, because you're sending that off and you're not going to be there on that day.
I hope you enjoyed that one, mate. It's a really good one, and I'll do another one for you again soon.
You feel like you have failed as a dad, as a person. So being able to do just something very simple as a story for your kids. It's about turning that negative into a positive.
I will obviously see you very, very soon, and love you lots. See you soon. Bye.
Working now on the outside for Story But Dad's, massively proud of what I do. I know what it's like to be on that other side of the camera in that situation that they're in. So I know how much of a difference that's going to make to the kid that's going to receive it. And for me, I feel like I'm kind of where I'm meant to be.
Since Storybook Dad started in 2003, we've trained over 800 prisoners to become editors. We've sent over 88,000 stories to prisoners' children. Research shows that prisoners who maintain contact with their families are up to 6 times less likely to reoffend. We've also trained about 10 other countries to copy our model. For me personally, I think it's probably the best thing I've ever done. I get to work with prisoners knowing that I'm helping them do something really valuable for their children.
Around 300,000 kids every year are affected by a close family member being in prison. And they're the kind of, indirect victims, I suppose, of crime. My kids when they talk about that sort of 18-month period of time where I wasn't around, it's always about Storybook Dads. Without Storybook Dads, I don't know quite what that 18 months would have been like.
Wow, what amazing work they're doing. Well, volunteer officers have been around for 200 years, but the head count of special constables has had a dramatic nosedive. It's actually at its lowest now for 50 years. So, to tell us why they think it's so great and encourage more of us to sign up, we have with us Kelly Drew and Darren Roberts. Thanks for coming in. You're all suited and booted. Now, this is a side hustle for you, isn't it, as special constables? Kelly, tell me a bit about your life, how you got into it and what your day job is.
So it was actually at a university open day with my son. I actually got chatting to a special and he inspired me to join. I wanted to join when I was in my 20s into the regular police force, but I just sort of fell into a different career.
Yeah, because it's very different to your day job, which is a big one as well.
Yeah, it is. So my day job, I work for a major cinema chain as an operations director. And as a special constable, I am a response officer in a district policing team for Hampshire and Isle of Wight Constabulary, so very different. Yeah, it's fascinating. And Darren, what got you in?
Well, Mum was in the Royal Navy and Dad in the British Army, so I always had that bigger sense of purpose. And I wanted to get involved in protecting people and make my son proud. During the day, I work in an adventure clothing brand, and I also did 12 years in Army Reserves, infantry reconnaissance. So I was quite keen to transfer those skills across and be part of a close-knit team again. And like Kelly, I'm in frontline response policing. I work with an amazing regular team of 12 officers who are brilliant at their job and super supportive of what we do.
Yeah, and you clearly enjoy it. I can see from the smiles on your faces. Kelly, what's the training like to be a special constable?
So the training is about 8 or 9 months long. Most of the training takes place at evenings and weekends, so it can fit around what we're doing. For the training, you learn a lot about police powers, legislation and also report writing, as well as more practical elements such as how to use the radio, how to keep yourself safe and first aid. And I've been really lucky to have some amazing tutors and sergeants support my training along the way as well.
Yeah, training sounds so interesting. And so once you've done the training, you get the uniform, you're out there. What is a typical shift like, Darren?
Well, I typically go to 5 to 6 incidents a shift with my supportive tutor. But the shift as a whole does about 40 incidents per shift. So it's very busy, and you can go to anything from shoplifting to knife crime to missing persons to domestic violence. So it gets very, very busy for us.
Yeah, and can you just explain for people who don't know what the difference is between a special constable and, you know, other roles in the police?
Yeah, it's a great question. The special constables have a warrant card and they have full policing powers, just like regular officers, but we're volunteers. And we work alongside our talented control room operators, police constables, police staff and police community support officers in every single frontline situation.
Yeah, and in terms of getting more people into this then, Kelly, what would you say?
Most forces will be looking to recruit special constables at the moment, so you can look up and get some information. But we take lots of people from different walks of life, whether you're a parent, a professional, a student or a retiree. It's very flexible and it can fit around your family and home life. So if you've got that time and you think you can help someone, I would encourage you to have a little look at it.
That's really interesting. It sounds like kind of anyone can have a go. Do you have to be fit, though? Because that's what I'd worry about, to be honest.
It keeps me fit.
Does it? Excellent. Yeah. OK, well, thank you so much for coming in to tell us about it. And if you'd like more information about it, about signing up yourself, head to the website below where you can access all the information that you need.
I think you make a great cop, Steph. Now it's time for the first of this series, Wanted Faces. Police in Lancashire are urgently looking for this man. This is Christopher Spellman. He's a registered sex offender who's failed to check in with the police as instructed to do so. The 65-year-old has long scruffy hair and links all across the south coast. The last positive sighting of him was in Dorset, but he may now be in Devon, Cornwall, Wiltshire, Hampshire or Kent, and police want to emphasise that he could be living off-grid, possibly in a tent or wooded area or close to a beach. And they say he's previously had cash-in-hand jobs, such as selling fish to passers-by, so you may see him doing that kind of work. What about Rubinder Singh? Though sometimes he uses the first name Gurpinder, police in South Yorkshire want to speak to him about an allegation of rape. He's 31 with a beard and dark hair and has been known to have links to Barnsley in South Yorkshire, although police believe he has now left that area. And last for this morning anyway, we got this man, this is Kyle Campbell, but he also uses the surname Manners, though it is questionable that he has any of those. The 25-year-old is wanted by South Yorkshire Police after he failed to appear in court after being charged with GBH with intent. He has a northern accent and links to Doncaster, and recent intelligence suggests he may now be in the new Rosington area of the city. So, if you see any of these men out and about, please contact the police or us on 08000 468 999. Thank you for watching today. And remember, you can catch us on iPlayer for up to 30 days after broadcast. Details of organisations that can provide support with some of the issues raised in the programme today are available at bbc.co.uk/actionline. And Steph, you're actually back with us on Monday now, aren't you?
Yes, I'll be back next Monday. But you have Jennifer Rioch with you for the rest of the week. So do stay watching, especially tomorrow, as we've got the counter-terrorism police as they race against the clock to arrest a man they suspect is planning a violent attack.
He seemed to be the person who was most likely to be involved with this group and potentially looking to conduct this attack.
This is a dramatic case, that's for sure. We'll see you tomorrow at the same time at 10:45 a.m. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
They wiped my name, erased my code, but I'm the echo they can't hold. I rise from ashes of their lies, with fire coated in my eyes. You can't delete what